Here's another blueberry. Another pepper and another sunflower. And here's the golden raspberry. Gold raspberry. It's the first one we've got. I've always wanted to try them. Hopefully it'll do good. Just put that one in. Here's another mulberry. Now, alongside the mulberry, I've got it's either a cherry or a plum. I'm thinking it's a plum. A little seedling growing. I must have put right here next to this. Here's a Santa Barbara plum that really hasn't done good since I put it in 2 years ago. It's still really yeah, it ain't much of anything. Hopefully I'll get some good growth come back out of the roots, maybe. Who knows? Just always replace it with something. And here's another blueberry. Got some oregano next to the blueberry right here. Some more little squash dudes down there. And here's another peach. Give you an idea. Bunch of little peach seedlings growing out the base. Here's a pepper. We've actually got some peppers almost ready on here, starting to change color. That's cool. And I remembered I got a little peach seedling over here that's growing 10 feet away from this one. And I put a cage around him this year, and it's starting to grow really good. There's some really good growth on this little peach seedling only being here. I noticed it the end of last summer. It was just a little stick. It's just a little stick that came up, and now it's starting to branch out. So it was probably a seed last spring, and within a year, we got this. A little over a year. Another blueberry dude. Right there. Some mint. And then this behemoth is a wild black cherry, and I've got a mulberry right there also too, but it's made a nice guild right here. I've got some wild black raspberries underneath, and alright, sorry about that. I hit my camera and it shut off on me. But I got some little mulberries, some little mulberry guys growing underneath here in this really nice little shady area. Some wild black raspberries, and eventually all of it's going to be really thick like this. All the rows will. And this is the biggest mulberry I've got that I've planted. Let's see. And I kind of topped it right there, and it's just branched out into 4. Still going nice and tall, but I got some nice lateral branches sticking out on the mulberry. And it just makes the mulberries easier for me to eat, and more for me, less for the birds. But yeah, you can kind of see how big this wild black cherry's got. Alright. And I've got a little side row right here, but I want to finish up and take you down here. There's a grape. Bunch of nice little grapes hanging in here. Not really sure what type of grape this is, but my buddy that was mowing my grass last year said that they were starting to turn kind of purple. Last year was the first year they started fruiting, and I missed it, but hoping to get some grapes this year and try it out. Alright. And this here is the wild plum that I've shown in another video where they're growing on the ground. Look how nice and tall these little baby plum trees are growing right out of the roots. A little tomato. Put a little tomato in right there. Got a little tomato growing on. And the plum tree. The plum right here is about 6.5, 7 feet tall. About as big around too. And got another tomato. It's kind of splitting up, going over this way and then going up over here on this blueberry. Got some little tomato dudes on there too. And there's a wineberry. Another hot pepper right there. Some more thyme. Little cherry seedlings. And here's a honeyberry and another honeyberry. And I put these right at the base of this peach tree. And this is one of the first, this is the peach tree I put in 4 years ago. And it's never been pruned, and it's just nice and big and bushy. It's really big. And it's put on a lot of growth this year, so I really can't wait to see it covered in pink flowers next spring with all the growth it's had. But yeah, no fruit on the fruit trees this year. Too many late frosts, but here's a wineberry. Some chicory. It's like dandelion, wild lettuce. It's a blueberry. Some more wild lettuce, kind of letting it go to seed. And here's one of the wineberries that I dug up and transplanted in the video. It's getting really big. Moving raspberries around. There's another tomato. This tomato is tall. It is tall. Hopefully it won't bend or break when it gets too much weight on it, but or break anyways. I kind of want it to just bend and lay down. And here's a pawpaw. Another tomato. Bushing out really good. Spreading over this gooseberry. And this is the Einsheimer apple that I have found out this year is really susceptible to rust. So I may have to want to replace this tree. I don't have luck with apples. I have all my trees in the backyard, all the newer ones. Instead of putting apples, I put pears, and the pears are doing way better. You know, in the south, the apples don't do as good. Only certain varieties really do good, and I just haven't had the best luck with them. Granny Smith is a really good apple variety to grow down south, and I've got like 1 or 2 over there. But I'll give you a good pan of everything, what we've kind of looked at. We've looked at those little trees over there, and peach, and another peach, and there's that really bushy black cherry right there. This here is another peach that the whole top of the tree died off also. And here's a branch that I've trained back up into a tree, and it's really filling out really good. And I've got some cucumbers growing up this. Some nice oregano, wineberry. More cucumbers and a blueberry, and we've already looked at all that. Don't know what the time is, but it's gonna be a long video. And this is just the front yard. I've counted in the front yard, there's over 30 fruit trees, and not to mention all of the berry bushes underneath them and in between them, and raspberries and everything. But I think it was 36. 36 is how many fruit trees I've got in the front yard. And that's not to mention over here in the seedling food forest. So here's one more of the rows. I've got a big, beautiful Methley plum right here. And this tree's 20 feet tall already. It's about 18, pretty close to 20 feet tall. Just as wide. And I wish it... When I got this tree, it was pruned up, and it wasn't really pruned the best way, and I've tried to kind of do the best I can with it, but it's doing its own thing. And it's going to be a lot of fruit next year, hopefully, if the frosts don't come in like they did this year. Here's some more oregano, and I've got some little baby plums growing off of here. There's another one there, a couple there, another little guy right there. So we've got little plums growing out of the roots of this big plum. There's another honeyberry. Here's one of the aronias. Blueberry. Nice big blueberry with big blueberries on it. Here's an apricot tree that I thought was dead. I put this one in 4 years ago, and I thought it was dead, and it's done its own thing. It's got leaves on it. It's growing. I don't think apricots like the heat too much. I put 2 more in the backyard, and those things already died, and this is just kind of grown back. And yeah, we'll see. But yeah, there's a little honeyberry right here too that I put next to the apricot, and another honeyberry, small little honeyberry back there. Here's some of that wild onion or wild garlic going to seed. Some more of it. And here's a blueberry. And then this is another patch of sunchokes. Nice big patch of them. And I've actually connected this one to this row. So we'll give it a try. We'll see how it does. But right in here, I put some mulch down. Even though there wasn't anything here, I put some mulch down last winter, and I put some corn in here. There's some popcorn. A couple little sunflowers right over here, and a couple squash. And a bunch of clover, a bunch of good nitrogen fixing clover growing everywhere. You can see how I mow around it. Make like a nice little round patch of it. Now this is what's left of a crabapple, red leaf crabapple. I cut that thing down. This is a replacement that's grown back, and I've got a bunch of little babies growing in here too. Yeah, you can see the little babies. See the red? And then there's some wild roses growing in here too. Oh, sorry, scared a big old bug out of there. And I put blueberries in here this year. This used to be all wood chips for my chickens. I'm finally getting my yard back, but I put some blueberries in here, mulched them pretty good, and I try to keep the weeds back, at least so they've got some sun. But I've got some thick weeds. Good chop and drop. Good green mulch right here. Just got to start chopping it. Here's another blueberry. Did 4 right here in this row. Have a nice row of blueberries near the road. And there's another crabapple growing right here. So I skipped this one. Should be a blueberry there, but another blueberry right here. Little guy. And this is what the front looks like near the road. Plum olive right here. And I'll show you those. But I kind of want to just kind of give you an idea from this angle what it looks like. Now I also planted 4 more blueberries in this row. Well, 4 more blueberries in this row, but only one of them survived. The other ones died. And a nice big tall autumn olive right here. And let me give you an idea how big this is. Yeah, that branch up there is pretty big. And I put these guys in 2 years ago, and they're the best producers, the best performers, I would say. I mean, if you want a food forest quick, these guys, they'll just take off. And I'm not really sure what I want to do with these. I don't know if I want to do some rows of grapes or some berries. I was thinking about maybe doing some blackberry rows up here, but I've got so many blackberries everywhere else. And here's another autumn olive. And this is the first year that the autumn olive have started to fruit. And they are loaded. Absolutely loaded, the autumn olive is. little. See, the fruits are like a reddish brown right now. And they're gonna start ripening up here and get real pinkish red as the summer winds down. And I've got another autumn olive right here. Here's a little row, a little hidden row in between everything. And I've got 5 rows up here. And like I said in the beginning, that's initially what I do, is I decide where I want things and I just don't mow it. I just leave a strip there. Like there's a strip here, and I've got a little marker for where I'd like to maybe put some cornelian cherries or something like that. It's nice, or even just regular Montmorency cherries. Or Nanking. I've kind of wanted to maybe put some little cherry trees, a couple cherry trees up here in this first row. And I'm still playing around with it. Still playing around with the idea. But that'll give some privacy of the house from the road over here. And there's actually a stump in the middle of this. I'll just kind of mow around it. A big circle around it. Alright. Now we're on the back side of all these new no zones, these new rows of future food and production. So that's it, guys. That is the front yard food forest. Stay tuned. I've got the whole backyard and the side and everything. And this right here, the front yard, has got the most diversity. I've done more with berries and vegetables and seeds and everything, and mulched. I've mulched this a little bit heavier. So the front yard has got a lot more going on, and I started with the front yard. I didn't even start in the backyard until the second or third year that we moved here. So just in a couple years, adding a little bit every year, you can have a front yard that, instead of just having a bunch of grass to mow, gives you berries, gives you grapes, gives you tomatoes, gives you cucumbers, you know, gives you Jerusalem artichokes and plums and peaches and cherries, and you know, it's like a big maze while the kids are running around in here. They love it. So this is my my front yard food forest with a more natural style. I don't really prune a lot of the trees except for the mulberries and raspberries and blackberries and stuff like that. And I try to just kind of let it go. I've got an acre here, and the whole property's an acre, not just the front yard. So I've got an acre, and I want the trees to be nice and tall and give a lot of shade. And I don't prune those the fruit trees because of that, like this peach right here. I mean, this is a really tall and leggy peach. It's pretty skinny, but eventually it'll fill out and make a really nice big tree with a lot of space underneath it. A lot of clear space underneath it for berries and stuff like that. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.